Howdy YouTube, and welcome to this episode of the Gunman. So this video here, I'm going to be doing a bit of a review and demo on the DeVilbiss GTI Pro versus the GTI Pro Lite. Now I sat down and did the editing side of this video. This was probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago. It sat in my video editor unedited because you know what I found out? These two guns, they're basically identical. The only real difference is the weight and the feel in the hand. So the Pro Lite, it's 60 grams lighter than the Pro. They've got exactly the same air caps now, and previously I think that they were still identical, but just a little bit of a different look to them and named differently. Now, yeah, DeVilbiss may not like me saying that, but I'm not really affiliated with them officially at all by any means. So I'm allowed to say what I want at the end of the day. I'm not saying anything bad about them, but I think that the T2 is just about identical to the TE20. I think the HV30 is identical to the H1, and I think that the TE10 is identical to the T1. So there's some caps, but now they've actually released all the Pro Lite caps onto the Pros anyway. One thing that you do get now that you never used to get is 2 fluid tips with it. So you used to always just get the selection of one. I can say this from Spray Guns Direct anyway. I'm not sure if all other suppliers do it. They probably do though. But it comes with either 1.2 and 1.3mm fluid tips or 1.3 and 1.4mm and your choice of one air cap. So I think that Australia is actually a little bit behind. I think it takes a little bit longer for us to get these cool looking guns out, because I've even had a look on eBay and see what's out there in the local Australian market as far as the new Pro and Pro Lites go, and I'm yet to see any of the blue or black which have just been released recently. So even my mates from Spray Guns Direct, Chris, he even said that he questioned the guys at DeVilbiss and said, why are you still going on with the Pro compared to the Pro Lite? Whereas, you know, everyone seems to know that the Pro Lite's probably the better gun, but supposedly some people actually prefer the feel of the Pro over the Pro Lite. Personally, the Pro Lite wins for me. You've got an extra reduction of the 60 grams weight. It feels a bit nicer in the hand to me. And yeah, they as I said before, they should by right spray exactly the same. But some people just seem to like the Pro because it just seems that little bit more sturdy or solid in the hand or something like that. That's entirely up to you at the end of the day. Buy what you want. These guns should be exactly the same as the Techna Pro and the Techna Pro Lite. Now I do believe that they actually have had different setups, and you guys do seem to get some pretty decent deals over there in America, whereas they send them out with a wide variety of air caps and tips and gauges and all that kind of thing. So, but the only thing is that you don't have the cool colors that we get in the rest of the world. So yeah, that was the HV30, and at the end of this video I actually did a noise comparison, so I'm not narrating over it. I've just put a 15-second clip of each of the 3 caps together, and you can just listen to the sound of the gun, and it'll just give you an idea of the way they sound, because you could hear before with HV30 you were getting this real sort of whistling type of a sound with it, because the size of those air horns are actually quite big. Whereas this straight away, this is the TE20, and you can hear that it sounds finer. It sounds like a bit of a higher pitch, and you don't have that whistling anymore. So here I'm using the Pro Lite with 1.3mm and the TE20 air cap on it. Before I was running the 1.4mm with the HV30 on the Pro. Now, as I said, I did edit this video 3 weeks ago, and a lot can change in 3 weeks in spray painting, I guess, you know. Some of the methods that I used even a couple of weeks ago, I don't do that anymore, you know. So I would not recommend a 1.4mm with the water base anymore. I would not recommend HVLP with the water base anymore. I've actually changed right over to the other side, and I'm on the TE10 for me water base now. I feel like while I yet have not actually totally 100% conquered that water base, I'm definitely getting there. And I think a big part of it before was not having the right setup on the gun, and I was applying it a little bit too fast. So had the I'm not ashamed of having to get a paint rep in. At the end of the day, that's what they're there for. There's nothing to be ashamed of not knowing something. At the end of the day, if we all knew everything about spray painting and it was easy, this channel probably wouldn't really exist, or it would just exist for the sake of watching someone spray painting. You wouldn't, like I've had one guy, he said, oh, I can never learn anything off your videos because I already know everything. And I'm like, well, I don't know about that, you know. I sort of disagree with that. I was even actually watching one of Jimmo from the Refinishing Network's videos this morning, and he was saying about what makes a good painter. And he put forward a couple of good points that I agree with, you know, like about having a color library. Something that personally, previously, I never used to have, and I don't think I needed with the Glazer at 55 line, but now using the Chromax Pro Water, I'd probably say yes, it's a good idea to start getting a color library together, and I have started doing that. Whilst he definitely did put forward a good point in saying that it's a sign of a good painter that you have a color library, I wouldn't necessarily turn around and say, oh, this guy doesn't have a color library, so he's a bad painter. But that's just up to personal opinion, I guess. And at the end of the day, who cares about this I'm the best painter mentality anyway? When I'm working with people anyway, I look at their strong points. Like if you've got a shop where, like I'm working at the moment, where I've got 2 apprentices, and even this shop here, you know, you just look at people's strong points, you use them to your advantage, and any negative points that you've got, well then you build on it, and that's something that we can look at to improve. And like myself, you know, if I start getting my colours wrong in every second car on my blends, like I was mentioning before, blends has been an issue with me lately with the Chromax Pro. Modelling has been an issue. Okay, well, we'll work on that. We're not going to go and start saying you're a shit painter because, you know, it's taken you a couple of months to get the hang of this system. No, we'll work on your positives, and then, make something that works, and I'm going to nail it. You know, I'm already improved immensely on my model. As I said before, it was mainly my application, and I think I had the wrong setup as well. But the reason I went for the HVLP air cap setup is that everyone was saying NTEC is one of the best. I think it's LS, the LS NTEC, which is the Iwata Supernova gun, which is a HVLP setup. I thought, wow, that would just make sense that would, it's a HVLP setup. I'll go for the HVLP, but on the DeVilbiss. And even after that, I said to my mate Carl from Park Automotive, I said, but wouldn't it, you know, if you're saying that the NTECs are the way to go, and he said, oh, we're actually starting to have some issues, heard of some people having some issues even with that setup. So he actually said, man, go for the TE10. I put the TE10 on, applied it a little bit differently, and a much improved finish. So I'm going through a little bit more paint than I previously was, but if it means the jobs are only getting done once and they look right, I'm not really losing any sleep over it. I think that we're still an improvement on the previous guys who were working there before I got to that shop anyway. So I did veer off track a little bit in this video. I do apologise for that. But as I said, how much can you really talk about 2 different spray guns that are, well, just about identical apart from a few minor points, which I've already gone through anyway. So yep, this is the XC Cobra. This was the first time I cleared it. I did actually end up flow coating it, and I have already put the flow coating video up. So this is that air comparison I was telling you guys about. This is the HD30. TE20. And this is the TE10. So to me, there's a definite noticeable difference that as you go through the caps, you can hear that air is coming out a lot finer. So yeah, you can hear that the finer atomization through the TE20 compared to the HV30, and then again from the TE10. I didn't actually have any video footage of that XF Jaguar while it was all put back together, so I just actually included a couple of photos there for you. And this is the XC Cobra as it is at the moment. I'd like to see that thing back together and definitely get some video footage for you guys. But from now to then, get out there and paint some shit, guys. Thanks for watching, and this has been another Gunman production. Goodbye.